Chapter 4 of The Ancient Mariner. That night I slept like a baby, and when I woke up, well, for so long, as soon as I'd woken up, it had been to a dawn without hope. Every day I'd known despair and guilt, but this day was quite the opposite. In my dreams, the buckets on deck were filled with water, and when I opened my eyes, I saw that it was true. In the night it had rained. I was wet through, and it was the most marvellous feeling. I felt so light I thought I could have floated. I drank, and then I stopped and listened. I could hear a sound. It was a roaring sound, like the noise a great waterfall makes when it crashes down into the river below. Wind to fill the sails. But this was no ordinary wind. It rushed towards the ship like a tornado, and then it dropped down like a stone. And as it hit the deck, I hardly know how to tell you this. I couldn't believe it myself, and I saw it with my own eyes. What happened was this. There was a sound. It wasn't the wind, it was a groan, and it came from the dead men. Yes, as sure as I'm standing here, I'm telling you, those dead men groaned, and then they stood up. The helmsman went to the wheel, the sailors went to the ropes. My nephew took his place beside me just as he always used to. No one spoke, but they all set to and sailed the ship. When the sun rose in the sky, they began to sing, and then a skylark joined in, and a blackbird, and a robin, and then every other kind of bird you can think of. It was like the loveliest music I'd ever heard. Eventually it stopped, but then the sails made a sound of their own. It was like the noise a fast stream makes when it flows over stones, and yet now there was no wind. The sailors never spoke. I don't think they could even see me. Can you imagine anything more strange? And yet I wasn't afraid. Somehow I knew that the spirit that had followed us up from the land of ice and snow was still with us, but now it was helping me. It was underneath the ship, and it was pushing it along. Suddenly the ship sort of bucked. Then it bounded forward, moving much faster than any ordinary ship could move. I think I must have fainted then. In my dreams I heard a voice say, "Is this the man who shot the albatross?" And then another, gentler voice said, "It is, but he's sorry for what he's done. He's been punished for it, and his punishment isn't ended yet, but it's time for him to go home now." I'll see you next time for Chapter 5.